Good day. I'm looking for several sailors, some nauts that disappeared a few days ago.
Sorry, that doesn't ring any bells. But I did hear talk like everyone else on the port, but that's all. You should ask the Mage Inquisitors who have taken up lodgings here of late. They must have certainly seen something. We see them everywhere, and they spend their time spying on all that moves, especially eyeing all that the Nauts are up to.
And what do these Mage Inquisitors look like?
They wear a very peculiar symbol.
We cannot question all the Inquisitors roaming around the island. Especially considering what we've learned from Domitius. They must be doing everything in their power to discover the Naught's secrets.
Greetings. What can I do for you?
Why build an outpost here?
Well, we do have to watch over the lands surrounding the city, with the bandits, the beasts, and the natives. We don't have a lot of time to rest, you know. Anything else?
Desarde, I have a favor to ask.
Very well. I'm listening.
Do you remember the story of Jonah?
Of course.
Well, I'm like him. A donation to the sea. My family also gave me to the Nords. I don't know anything about my real family, except that they are probably affluent and from the congregation. When I was born, the Nords and the merchant princes had a complex relationship. I must have been used to settle a debt or forge a truce, but that doesn't matter. The mystery of my origins has now become an obsession. I need to know where I come from. If I were patient enough, I'd wait to become a fleet commander, and then I would be told. But since being laid off, such a promotion seems somewhat improbable.
And you want me to help you find this information?
You understand correctly. The records of all seamen stationed on the island are in their respective ports. Mine must be in the harbor office in New Serene, and it must contain my family name. But if I go there, I'd be spotted right away. However, I get the impression that this may not be the right time for you. We'll talk about it again when you're less busy. Did you want anything else?
You seem to be mad at me for some reason. Do you still resent the fact that I called your ship a boat?
No, it has nothing to do with that. Nobility makes me uncomfortable. I'm sorry if I was rude.
Did my charm make you change your mind?
And I was starting to believe that you were different. Did you want anything else?
I must leave you.
Desarde, I've always hoped to one day, but I cannot go to the harbor office in person to see my file. However, I get the impression. We'll talk about it again. Did you want anything else?
I must leave you. What an astounding place.
My mother told me about this place. She said that the village was devoured by the houses of the sons. How could their chief accept this?
All that's left to do is to find Father Eustinius.
Welcome to Eden, the lighthouse of faith, harmony, and civilization in these wild lands.
Thank you. Desade. I'm the legate of the merchant congregation.
And I am Father Justinius. Delighted. And what may I do for you?
The Mother Cardinal has asked me to investigate the theft of these tablets you discovered.
That's excellent news. The loss of the tablets is a catastrophe. We have to find them at all costs. If you want to learn more about these tablets, you should go ask Sister Eugenia. She supervises the theologians who discovered them, and were also guarding them. You should find her a bit further in the village, with her colleagues.
Who are the suspects of this theft?
The heretical brutes of the village of Vedlug most likely had a hand in this. They must have wanted to please the demons they worship by stealing the holy word from us.
How could they have learned of the tablet's existence?
Perhaps the demons are giving them this power. Unless one of the natives living in the village innocently mentioned them. They are so naive. Either way, I am certain that the heretics are involved in this matter.
I must leave you. Goodbye.
May the enlightened always keep you in their divine blessing.
I wonder how my people could accept the priests settling in their home like this.
It all seems a bit too convenient. If we find out some information about the history of Eden, maybe we'll change our view on things. The theft of the relic is probably not a coincidence. Hello. The Mother Cardinal asked me to help you find the tablets that were stolen. Can I ask you some questions?
Of course. But hurry, I have a lot to do.
I talked to Father Justinius. He told me that you were supervising the theologians here.
Indeed. It is under my supervision that the research on Saint Matthias is conducted.
Whom do you suspect of being the thief?
Alas. I'm afraid there are many suspects. These tablets are priceless relics. Some settlers may have fallen prey to the lure of profit. The heretical natives of Vedlug may have wanted to take them away from us. Or it could have been vengeance by those who had to leave the village.
I imagine someone was keeping watch over them.
Of course, we took turns guarding the shack. But some of us can't have taken the task that seriously. If I remember correctly, it was Brother Virgil who was guarding them that night.
Where were the tablets the night they were stolen?
We were keeping them in one of the village's shacks. We intended to bring them to San Matthias later. But first, we wanted to examine them in order to obtain as much information as possible. You can go and take a look in the shack if you want to, but I couldn't find any traces of forced entry.
Well, thank you for these pieces of information.
I am the one who should be thanking you. Especially if you managed to retrieve the tablets for us.
The Mother Cardinal told me that this village had been developed on the basis of St. Lucius's writings. Are you one of the theologians who helped in its creation?
Yes. I was sent here to confirm that this place is indeed the one described in the writings, and then I stayed.
What was the reaction of the natives when you arrived here?
Most of them were not in favor of us living amongst them. They were afraid we might chase them out of their own village. And there were even more protests once we started talking about searching for traces of Saint Matthias. I suppose they thought we would destroy all of their raised stones and other places of superstition.
Were there any confrontations with the natives?
Yes. The warriors of the village attacked us. The Ordo Luminous actually had to intervene. The Inquisition managed to make them run away. The islanders tried to attack again with the support of Vedlug, but we stood our ground. And when Lur, the chief of the village, finally accepted our presence, things calmed down.
Thank you. This information will certainly prove to be useful. Thank you. I will let you work. Greetings, Desade. I am handling the investigation into the theft of the tablets. Sister Eugenia told me to talk to you.
I'm Brother Virgil. What would you like to know?
According to your colleague, you were the one in charge of guarding the tablets on the night of the theft. Is that right?
Indeed.
Do you suspect anyone in particular?
Not really. What I can tell you for sure is it is not one of us.
Well, Sister Eugenia did tell me that the tablets were priceless.
Of course. But our motivation is not the lure of profit. All that matters to us is their value as proof, not the money we could make out of them.
What can you tell me about that night? Did you hear or see anything?
No, nothing in particular. The night was quiet, and then the morning after, we saw they were gone.
Someone had to enter the shack to steal the tablets. How did that happen?
I have no idea. The door was closed in the morning, and the lock was intact.
Do you think the culprit could be a native?
Well, since none of us did it, it seems obvious. There aren't many other settlers around here, and the natives knew of the existence of these tablets before we found them. They were attached to them too, in their own way.
They are the ones who led you to them.
Well, we conducted the research, but they helped us find where they were hidden. Some inhabitants of the village are still giving us a hand with our work.
Well, thank you. I will investigate where the theft took place.
As you wish. But you won't find anything there. And why does it matter, anyway? There were witnesses to the discovery of these tablets. We have all the proof we need. And that's all that matters.
What do you mean?
Now we can prove Saint Matthias lived here. Our actions on this island are justified. To keep rummaging the way Sister Eugenia does will only create more tensions with the natives.
I was not expecting a theologian to say such things. Have you been in Eden for a long time?
2 months, approximately. Back then, there were still some pagan natives in the village. I joined Sister Eugenia's team with some of my colleagues, so we could give them a fresh outlook on things. We arrived straight from Ptolemy, hoping to study some new texts. But once we were here, I understood that my real mission was with the islanders. We must bring the light to this island.
How are your relations with the natives?
When I arrived, we were still trying to obtain information from them about Saint Matthias, but they were very reluctant to give us any answers. We were also trying to educate them. Our attempts eventually made some of the inhabitants of the village react badly. Most stubborn against our teachings, the warriors, and the marked. The ones the natives call the Onomanawi. They eventually left, and it has proved nothing but a blessing for us. I would like to go back to work now, if you don't mind.
Of course. I will leave you to your work. Goodbye. Father.
I'm glad to see you, my child. What can I do for you?
Tell me about how you created this village.
We did not create it from the ground up. It was built around an existing native village. The islanders called it Vixenagad, which translates to the village of the old sage. We saw it as a sign. The natives had probably chosen this name in memory of Saint Matthias, and everything here fit the description of Saint Lucius. The discovery of the tablets proved us right. So, we decided to rebuild our Eden here, in the spirit of peace and harmony which is described in the scriptures.
Why share this village with the natives?
To replicate and resume the work of our founder, of course. If he came here and managed to convert the natives, then it is our duty to do the same thing. By living side by side with them, it is much easier for us to pass on our teachings.
How well do you get along with the natives who live here?
Very well, of course. Especially since those who opposed our presence left.
Left? To go where?
Oh, to other villages, I imagine. Does it even matter? Those who stayed are on the path of enlightenment. Some of their legends must have been about Saint Matthias. That helped to convince them.
And how well have neighboring villages welcomed you?
With some reluctance, to be perfectly honest. So, we sent them missionaries. There are still frequent conflicts with the village of Vedlug, a highly violent village of heretics. But the other villages, the more peaceful ones, are slowly starting to listen to the sacred word.
There are no Onol Manawi and no warriors here either. Did they all leave?
Perfect harmony takes time, my child. I have no doubt that one day we will manage to convince your kind to convert. But, in the meantime, we must settle for the miracle of great coexistence that this place already represents. Nobody thought we could live side by side with your people. And yet...
I must leave you. Goodbye.
May the enlightened always keep you in their divine blessing.
Hello. I am Lair, the village leader. Well, I was the leader of this village.
Hello. Desade. I am the legate of the merchant congregation.
There are Onol Manawi among the Logead Blau. I did not know that. What do you want from me?
I've heard a lot of things about this village of Eden, but I'd like to hear your version.
I'm not sure I have the answers to all of your questions, but I'll try.
Tell me about the arrival of the people of Teleme, and how you received them.
The priests were roaming around the village. They were saying that it was the place where their saint had lived. They were asking questions, talking about the Lloyd and all these things. One morning they were building houses next to ours. And we had new neighbors.
The priests told me that they had managed to convert you. How did that happen?
As long as we refused to listen to them. They were violent, and they destroyed some of our sanctuaries. So we let them talk. And now that they think that we love their god, they leave us alone. Some of the things they say are beautiful, and their magic is impressive. But we do not forget our spirits.
One of the theologians told me that you had helped them in their research.
They wanted to find tracks of the old sage, of the one they call Saint Matthäus, and they were rummaging through everything. Our Donegad did not want to tell them anything, because the old sage is sacred here. But since they violently interrogated everyone, I thought it wise to guide them to the place where the stones were.
What happened to your warriors? Why did they have to leave the village?
They did not accept the presence of the priests and their questions. They tried to retake the village. They even asked Deirdre, the chief of Vedlug, for her help. So, the priests called the Soul Lasser, the Burning Suns, and they killed many of them. I asked for peace, and the others left us. They wanted to join Vedlug. Perhaps they have done so.
Aren't you angry after all that happened?
No. I mourn those who died, of course, and the Vorstirent. But this village may be our opportunity.
Your opportunity for what?
For the Renaigse to understand who we are. Not savages, nor monsters, but men. Perhaps wiser than they are.
I have to go.
Like so many others.
I knew that the story would be more complex than we'd been told.
The priests separated this village into two parts. The exiles must be broken-hearted, having left their clan behind.
Had they been wiser and accepted their new neighbors, they'd never have been forced to leave.
Either way, the resentment here is strong enough for a theft to occur. There is only one entrance and the door shows no evidence of a break-in.
This priest, Virgil, said that the night was calm. So calm that he probably fell asleep. So, the thieves only had to take the key from him.
It's very likely that that's what happened, but someone must have informed them. It can't be a coincidence that they decided to steal it during the watch of the only neglectful guard.
You think that the one who told them is in this village?
We know that this theft could be an act of vengeance by the natives who were forced to leave here. They must still have allies in the village, family or friends. We should go talk to the chief of the natives. He will certainly know who is close to the exiles, and enough about the researchers to inform them.
You have returned on Almanawi. Do you need something else?
I think I know who stole the tablets.
Really?
I believe those who were exiled from your village seek vengeance because the missionaries forced them to leave. They must have taken the tablets with the help of someone else who stayed here.
You may be right. But you may also be wrong.
You do well to tell me what you know. Once the priests have reached the same conclusions as I have, how do you think they will interrogate you?
You're probably right. The Inquisitors would come back, and my people would suffer. I do not want to break the peace that I did all I could to make. I think the name of the woman you are looking for is Vindwal. She helps the priests who seek the old sage.
If she's helping the priests, why would she betray them now?
Her son is one of the warriors who had to leave the village. He is filled with anger and fury. If you go talk to her, please, do not hurt her. She is but a mother who acted according to her son's wishes.
I have no intention of hurting her, but things may not be so simple when it comes to her son. I have to go.
Like so many others.
Greetings. Are you Vindwal?
Bertia Tumad. Yes, that is me. What do you want?
What can you tell me about Lair, your former leader?
He is a man of peace. Some people dislike him, not me. Everything he did to save the village. But I think the Mind Shakers made him forget what we are. He almost speaks like them now.
Listen, I know you helped the exiles to steal the tablets of Saint Matthias.
No, this is not true. It wasn't me.
There's no point in denying it. I know you did it for your son who had to leave the village.
If you know that, then you know that I don't have the tablets. So what do you want from me?
Tell me where the exiles are. I must retrieve these tablets.
You're asking me to betray my son. Promise me that you won't hurt him.
I promise. But if he reacts violently, I'll have to defend myself.
Then I hope he'll be reasonable. Bran and the others are hiding in the woods, beyond the Circle of Stone.
Thank you, Vindwal. Here's the place that Vindwal indicated. The exiles must be near.
These people have been banished already. There's no need to add death to their list of punishments. Let's try not to fight them.
Don't worry, we'll be discreet.
Remember that we were told the area on the left was a trap. It would be smarter to take the other path.
There, we found them. Now all that's left to do is to return to Eden.
May the Enlightened protect me in this battle! May the shadow engulf our enemies!
It's a great shame that things have gone this far.
And they were stealing. They didn't deserve to die to please those priests.
What are you doing here?
I was worried for my son. I wanted to make sure that everything was fine.
I'm sorry, Vindwal, but I had to resort to force. Your son and his friends are dead.
Nah. Keton Sidag. Why did he have to seek revenge? Ma rentam.
I am genuinely sorry.
Go. Leave me alone. I must now return them to the earth.